I'm reading for the disabled activists who saved our healthcare system, only to have our civil rights voted out by the House, which we voted out. This is not work about disability because I'm too depressed about that right now. I've spent the last couple of years working on a novel, focusing more on Catholicism, substance abuse, misogyny. That's another part of my life, but this particular part is a little more fun. It's from a novel entitled Darlings of Paradise. It's set in a fictional town, Rebel Run, Virginia, which in 2007 was going from red to purple to blue, and we owe that to Obama. Before he reached the Barnett Hall shuttle, a rusty VW microbus, Dean's high tops landed in gray slush. He banged on the side door. The red-headed driver with hairy fists waved him in. "Climb on back, another kid's coming." Inside, Dean asked, "Could you turn up the heat, please?" "It's high as it goes." Dean fell back on an exposed spring and took off his shoes. He started to peel off his socks and climb up front when the driver said, "Stop right there, no smelly feet." "But my socks are wet, and that's my problem?" Dean looked at the man, who couldn't be more than 5 years older, stocky, feet barely reaching the pedals. Just then another boy entered, hands shoved into both pockets of a pea coat, his white blonde hair and a jarhead haircut. He went straight to the far back seat. "What are we waiting for?" he said. "Ask your pal," said the driver, pointing at Dean's feet. "He wants me to—" "Then do it!" The boy's muscles tightened at his temples. Dean folded his arms defiantly. The driver puffed on his cigarette, turned to the mountains, and said, "I get paid by the hour." The boy came so close that Dean saw the spray of prickly white nubs on his chin. "I'll put those damn shoes on you by way of your stupid ass if you don't move it." "Jesus!" Dean put the shoes back on, his toes curling up inside. "Attaboy," said the driver, shifting gears and taking off. Not another word was spoken until Winchester. As they pulled up to a shotgun house, a woman in a tatty bathrobe greeted her son with a jerk of the chin. The driver handed a business card to the boy on his way out. The boy laughed. "I've heard of you. Anytime you need a pickup. Good to know." The boy hopped out and rammed the sliding door shut. The van took off again, rattling against fierce winds. Dean blew into his fists. Behind them, the sun settled into the Piedmont. The sky, a blood-orange strip over purple slopes. Dean started to move up to the passenger seat. The driver's hand shot up. "House rules." "I'm freezing." The driver rolled his eyes. "Okay, fine." Dean hesitated at this sudden act of generosity, but sat up front anyway. When he finally saw the sign announcing Rebel Run, he said, "Could you drop me off at the hospital?" "You don't look hurt to me," the driver teased. "Broken heart? What are you talking about?" "Come on, I see all kinds. You're a Romeo." "Whatever." Dean glanced out the window and saw a deer step out of the woods near the lake where he used to fish with his dad. The deer stared at Dean before it took off. "I need to go to the hospital. My mom is working there and I don't have my keys." "Sorry. House rules. They'll fire my ass if I take you anywhere but home." "It's getting dark. Look, I won't tell anyone." "Just call your mom." "You know, they don't let you keep your cell in the can." "You call Darnett Hall the can." The driver slapped the heel of his hairy palm on his head. "Darn it, got caught with pot." He laughed, took out another cigarette, punched in the lighter. "That place is Polly Pocket shit. You need to go downstate for the can, and they do take kids there nowadays. They don't escort you in a kiddie car either." The orange light crackled on the cigarette. "You go in a sheriff's cruiser, wearing shackles." Dean imagined Travis in shackles. The thought of it was unbearable, especially now as Dean was being released. "My friend is downstate." "I'll bet he's black, right? And all you got sent to was Darn It Hall because you're white. And you aren't white? I'm not the one taking the kiddie car from rehab. You call this the kiddie car? You won't drop me off at the hospital to meet my mom because of house rules, but you'll smoke in a rehab van? And who the hell is Polly Pocket? Polly Pocket, itty-bitty plastic chick. The driver made an inch with his fingers to show how big. Comes with accessories. My kid plays with Polly's fashion center. You never heard of Polly? He waved his cigarette and ashes fluttered. I dropped this chick off in McLean last week, one of those McMansions. 12 years old and she's hooked on junk. She plays with Polly. He blew smoke at Dean. She made me promise not to tell. You have a kid? Asked Dean. The driver opened the window and tossed out the cigarette before veering onto the exit ramp at the last minute, almost running over a vet who balanced a cardboard sign on the stump of his arm that read, "Need a hand out." I got 2 kids, said the driver. Do they live with you? The van stopped with a jerk at the light. The driver threw up his arms. What kind of a question is that? What? My dad doesn't live with me. The light changed. The driver shifted gears. Look, dude, how much money do you have? Now you're taking bribes? I'm not taking shit, the driver accelerated. I'm taking you home. Wait, Dean reached into his pocket. I'll give you $10. What hospital is she at? Rebel Run. 20? What? A cab will cost you that, then you have to wait for it after you get to a phone. Okay, 20. Dean didn't have 20, but that would be the driver's problem. You set up? Asked the driver. Set up? You got a dealer. Dean threw up his arms. I just got out of rehab. I know, I'm the driver, remember? At a stop sign, he turned to Dean. You think you've got your head together, but you don't. How do you know? Dean tried to challenge him with his eyes, but the driver didn't even blink, and Dean had to look away. I got an eye for these things, said the driver. I can tell you that this Polly Pocket chick in her McMansion has her shit together more than you ever will. Bet you haven't even met Auntie Hazel. Dean took his next breath cautiously. Auntie who? Hazel, bitch! Heroin? Dean's eyes crinkled. Heroin, mimicked the driver in a munchkin voice. They pulled into the ER loop. The driver stopped shy of the glass doors at the top. A red sign announced emergency. Dean focused on the light that spilled from the glass doors. He imagined himself being dropped off by his dad from a soccer game. His mom would be at the nurse's station. She might be scribbling notes when she would look up. Score any goals? He cranked the door handle, but it wouldn't open. I know what you're thinking, that I kitty-proofed the door, but maybe it just doesn't like you. Huh? It breaks for people who aren't ready to graduate.